What's going on, everybody? You are watching Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, we have our official Week 5 preview where the Minnesota Vikings are taking on the Cleveland Browns in London. We got some major news. It will not be Joe Flacco starting at quarterback. Reports are indicating that it will be Dillon Gabriel. So we'll break that down here in the second, and also be deep diving into the Browns season so far. Talk about how they've been very successful defensively, but have struggled so far offensively. And we also got some major injury news for both ball clubs. And then instead of keys to victory this week, I want to go over 5 concerns I have for the Vikings heading into this game. And then at the tail end, I'll get you guys my score prediction for this Week 5 matchup. But speaking about this Week 5 matchup, if you guys want the Vikings to beat the Browns and move to 3-2 on the season, go down there, hit that thumbs up icon. I put today's goal as 700 likes. So if you guys want to help me break that goal and avoid an awkward meeting with my bosses, go down there, hit that thumbs up icon. All right, let's talk about the Cleveland Browns, a very interesting team to say the least starting off this season. Now, in my opinion, the Cleveland Browns have one of the best defenses in the NFL. We'll break that down, break that side of the football down a little more in depth here in a second, but they also have struggled offensively. But I do got to tip my cap to the Cleveland Browns. They actually picked up a big win against our division rival, the Green Bay Packers, during Week 3, but they end up losing the first 2 weeks to the Cincinnati Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens, and then also lost the Lions this past week in Detroit. But even that Week 1 game, their kicker missed about a 30-something yarder, or else if they would have won that game, they're probably 2-2 instead of 1-3. But that is their record so far. But offensively, and a big reason why they're making a change at quarterback is because the offense has not been good. Now, Joe Flacco so far this season actually had the most attempts passing in the NFL, but they still ranked 20th in the league in passing yards per game. And they're only putting up 14 points per game, which is 31st in the league. Bad on third downs. Haven't been really able to run the football too effectively, but they do have a really good young running back in Quinshon Judkins. But the biggest change to the Browns offense is this guy right here, Dillon Gabriel, going to get his first start, most likely in the National Football League. Now, none of the big beat reporters or none of the big NFL insiders has officially confirmed this, but a couple of the local beat guys said, we should expect Dillon Gabriel to start, but it doesn't really change too much for the Vikings defense this weekend. Now, I will say, Brian Flores going against young quarterbacks, it has been a huge advantage in favor of Brian Flores. Like, he just has these guys seeing go, so I think this is a good thing for the Vikings, and if you were to somehow lose to Dillon Gabriel and the Cleveland Browns, that would be a catastrophic, result this upcoming Sunday. The Browns are a wagon. Now, obviously, the points per game, a little skewed with that one Bengals game of them giving up 41 points. And obviously the Lions scoring 34 this past weekend, but they are one of the best defenses in the league. Yards per game, first in the NFL, fourth in passing yards per game given up, but they are elite at stopping the run, only giving up 70.3 rushing yards per game. Keep in mind, this is a team that has played the Green Bay Packers, the Baltimore Ravens, the Detroit Lions, all 3 great rushing offenses, and they're only giving up 70.3 yards per game. And why, you may be asking? It's because of the guys up front. Their big 3 on their defensive line of Myles Garrett, Malik Collins, and Mason Graham is absolutely incredible. Mason Graham looks like a home run draft pick. This guy's an absolute freak. He moves incredibly well. He's great at 2-gapping on that defensive line. He can play multiple gaps. Malik Collins, great against the run, great against the pass. And then Myles Garrett, the best defensive player in the NFL. That's why I think the Browns have the best defensive line in the NFL. Now, obviously, if you had to go compare, hey, take these 4 guys versus another team's 4 guys, maybe the Browns won't stack up, but I think with the Myles Garrett impact, he makes other 3 guys so much better. Like Mason Graham this year, he's just getting one-on-one looks. Malik Collins, one-on-one looks, and it's because of that guy, Myles Garrett. He is an absolute problem. He is in the peak of his powers right now. I think he is the best defensive player in the NFL. I think he's a top 5 player in the league. He is that good, and he is going to be looking to wreak havoc this upcoming weekend. And I'm kind of joking around about this, obviously, but also kind of not. Can Christian Darrisaw somehow shadow Myles Garrett? I actually got a super chat on a watch party recently asking me about that, and it would be pretty funny if offensive linemen can move around to shadow a defensive player. But, man, I'll tell you what, when Myles Garrett is lined up over Justin Skule, it's going to be more of the same that we saw last week with the Vikings, where you have that tight end, you have that wide receiver that needs to stay in the line of, on the line of scrimmage just to help chip, just to help give some more hands his way. But Myles Garrett's going to be a problem this weekend. You cannot let 95 wreck this game. You did your best to not let TJ Watt wreck the game, and he still had an unreal play for an interception. So this guy is that good. He's that elite at the peak of his powers, and that's a tough matchup for this Vikings offensive line going against that Browns front. But if you guys are subscribed here to the channel, just give me a me down below in the comment section. Want to get you guys a shout out on a future show. So if you guys are subscribed to the channel, just type me. But if you're not subscribed, change it. Hit that subscribe button today. All right, let's talk about the latest injury news on the Cleveland Browns and Minnesota Vikings front. We're going to start off with the Cleveland Browns here. Their wide receiver room is pretty depleted. And really the only way the Browns are going to have success offensively against the Vikings is if they can establish run and run the football. But Cedric Tillman already ruled out for this game. Their kick returner, also their complimentary wide receiver, DeAndre Carter, is out. And DeJuan Jones, their left tackle, is out as well. But they also did trade for Cam Robinson. So a little Cam Robinson revenge game storylines heading into this one. But, the injuries to the wide receiver room here, this room is super thin. Like, you obviously got Jerry Jeudy, then you got Jamari Thrash, and then you got Isaiah Bond will probably step in for Cedric Tillman. But, a bunch of no-name guys there. So I expect Flores in this defense, run a lot of press man, get up, make these wide receivers beat you over the top, and get out of this just typical, shell coverage you were running last week against Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers, where he was able to just pick you apart the entire game. But on the Vikings front, not looking good. You look at these injuries. These are 5 of your best players on your team. Andrew Van Ginkel. Kevin O'Connell already said he's not going to practice this week. He's probably going to be out. Same with Ryan Kelly. He will definitely be out, but nothing official just yet. Brian O'Neill, sprained MCL, so he will most likely be out. And then you're already without Blake Cashman, Donovan Jackson, also not even included. Like a guy like Aaron Jones on this list, he's out as well. But, positive here for the Vikings. Week 7, this team could be getting really healthy and really scary. And you could be getting 5 elite football players back. Like, it's not like you're just getting these rotational, depth players back. You're getting 5 starters potentially back for Week 7. Brian O'Neill, Donovan Jackson, Ryan Kelly, Andrew Van Ginkel, and Blake Cashman. Where Van Ginkel and Cashman are probably the second and third most important players on that defense. You get both those guys back, 3 starting offensive linemen. So if you could somehow get a week this week against get a win this week against the Cleveland Browns, you got a real good chance to get to 3-2. And then you're getting healthy after the bye. But if you guys want the Vikings to get healthy, just give me those SKOLs down below in the comment section. Should be nearing that time where the Vikings should have almost all 22 guys out there. But injury bugs definitely been running rampant so far this season. But if you guys want the Vikes to get healthy, hit me with the SKOL down below. Now we'll dive into some of my concerns heading into this game here in a second. But today's episode is brought to you guys by Prize Picks. Now you and I make decisions every day. But on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. So don't miss any of the excitement this football season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. If you guys download the Prize Picks app today, plug in promo code CLNS. We'll hook you guys up with $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Now, Prize Picks is the only app that offers stacks, meaning you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. Want more on Josh Allen's pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns? Now you can pick all of them in the same lineup only on Prize Picks. They also have a new feature where you can follow other Prize Picks players directly on the app and copy their lineups in one click. Whether it's a friend, a celebrity partner, or just someone whose picks you like, hit the follow button and check out every lineup they create in the new Feed tab on Prize Picks. So download the Prize Picks app today. Plug in that promo code CLNS. Get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. But shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's show. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. All right, so my number one concern for the Vikings in this game, no doubt, is just going to be the offensive line holding up. Like I was mentioning, the Browns, they got an elite front. They get after you. They run a ton of twists, stunt concepts, which the Vikings have been struggling against this season. So this offensive line, they're going to have to bring their A game. And the Week 5 offensive line for the Vikings looks horrible. Like, with Blake Brandel, how bad he's looked. Michael Juergens, how bad he's looked. Same with Justin Skule. And now you're going against Myles Garrett, Mason Graham, Malik Collins. It's just not looking good. And even a guy like Will Fries hasn't really lived up to that contract so far. Christian Darrisaw, obviously fantastic, but the offensive line is just not good enough right now. And a big reason for that is because of injuries, but, that's no excuse. You're going against the Cleveland Browns. They're going to try to get after you, make Carson Wentz uncomfortable. So my number one concern is the offensive line holding up. And then number 2, the Vikings just beat themselves so far this season. Like, there are some terrible statistics around how many penalties they have actually committed this year, second most in the entire NFL, and just too often offensively, back-to-back games where you have just shot yourself in the foot, where you're putting yourself behind the 8 ball. You're getting yourself in the second, third and long situations, plus a bad offensive line play. It's just not a recipe for success. And here's how bad it's been. The number of penalties this season for the Vikings, 37. That's second in the NFL. Penalty yards, 287. That's seventh in the league. And this is the one that drives me crazy the most. Pre-snap penalties. 18 in the league, or 18 so far this season. That is number 1 in the National Football League. That just can't happen. That's inexcusable. Kevin O'Connell, you're a great head coach, but this is a bad stat for your football team. Hopefully get shirt up this weekend. And then third down efficiency. Vikings have to be better on third downs. They are one of the worst teams in terms of picking up third downs this season. Now, again, a big reason for that is you put yourself in a lot of third and longs because of the penalties. Then once you are in third and longs, your offensive line can't hold up. Well, if you look at the rest of the NFC North, the Vikings, worst by far. Packers, best third down team in the league, 52.7%. Bears, even top 5. Lions, always good on third down. They're top 12. But then the Vikings down at the bottom, 30.61%. That's 30th in the National Football League. So you have penalties. You're not good on third downs. Those aren't good Kevin O'Connell stats. But again, hopefully they get shirt up this weekend. And then number 4 here, you want to kind of slow down the Browns pass rush. Even though they are a great rushing defense, the rushing offense is a concern for me this week. And Jordan Mason's been absolutely awesome. Keep getting that guy the football. Get Cam Akers involved. Xavier Scott made a couple of plays this past weekend. But you got to be able to run the ball this weekend, because if you don't, again, third and long situations, Vikings not a good third and long team. Myles Garrett, that pass rush will be able to get home. But if you want to slow those guys down, even though they're fantastic against the run, should have a better run game. Also a CJ Ham back in the fold. But feed the beast. Get number 27 the football this weekend. And also stopping the run. The Vikings defense has been solid this year. And even like the advanced analytics for them are actually very positive. They haven't been playing as bad as it seemed over the last couple of weeks, but they have been bad against the run. And this week, you got one of the best young running backs in the league, Quinshon Judkins. This guy's an absolute freak. This guy is a bulldozer. He is a great cutter. He is great at following his blocks. He's just a problem with the football in his hands. And the Browns are able to get any success offensively this weekend, it will be because of this guy, Quinshon Judkins. But if you're able to take him away, I'm talking putting 8 guys in the box every single play, force Joe Flacco to beat you, we should be set up for success this upcoming weekend. But you guys let me know. Predict the score for me. Vikings versus Browns. My score prediction, I think it's going to be a slugfest. And if you aren't a Browns or Vikings fan, I would probably recommend not watching this game. But I'm going to go 16-10 in favor of the Vikings for my score prediction. But you guys let me know your thoughts down below. And also hit that subscribe button on your way out. Appreciate everybody for tuning in today. And we will see you guys next time. As always, SKOL Vikes.